the way we approach our diets, which varies massively from individual to individual, personal preference, fads, practical reasons, religious reasons, and so on, which may result in certain substances not being available in their diet or in sufficient quantities. Do you want to just delve into that area? Because that, of course, is an area where there is some evidence and an area that you yourself have done research on.
Yeah, I think the biggest one that has evidence to suggest that the body requires differences in micronutrients between men and women is iron, so dietary iron. In terms of women, we know that they, typically, I will say typical women, eumenoric women undergo menstruation, and that's a direct loss of iron through the blood every month, and that's going to provide a significant challenge to iron homeostasis. We also know, going back to the hormones really briefly, that there is some evidence to suggest that these can help regulate one of our iron regulatory hormones, hepcidin, and therefore we may see differences in absorption even across the cycle. We need more evidence and more research to confirm this, but that's our speculation at this point. So because women are having higher iron turnover and higher iron losses, they do require more iron for the body to maintain homeostasis, and iron can't be made by the body. It can only be obtained exogenously. And so for the dietary iron requirements and recommendations at this point do suggest that men only require about 8 milligrams of iron per day and women require 18 milligrams of iron per day to account for that additional loss that's occurring each month and potentially the changes in absorption across the cycle.
Should there be an assumption that if you're a female and you're an athlete, for example, and by athlete, somebody who exercises a lot, let's just leave it at that, then there's a particularly high risk of a problem with iron? And if so, how are they going to know that they've even got an issue with an iron insufficiency or even a deficiency?
Yeah, I think when we talk about high risk groups for iron deficiency, we typically say women as a first step, and that's a high risk group being half of our population, but premenopausal women. Endurance athletes, we think the repetitive nature of endurance exercise, and particularly on legs, running, can be a significant challenge to iron homeostasis. And then the third at-risk group we say is vegetarians or vegans who are removing some of those animal-based products from their diet, which are often rich in heme iron, which is our most bioavailable iron source. And so that removal can potentially limit the amount of iron that's going in to be absorbed. So we say they're our high-risk groups, and you're absolutely right. If you have a female vegan runner, it's a bit of a recipe for disaster in terms of ensuring they're getting enough iron in. And I should also say those numbers that I just mentioned are really based on the general population. We still don't have these numbers for athletes. We still don't know what the difference in iron turnover or quantified the difference in iron turnover between the general population and athletes, and that's something we're doing at the moment. But it's likely those numbers are even higher for athletes that have these direct iron losses that are occurring during exercise, as well as some malabsorption that's occurring in the hours following exercise due to some hormonal fluctuations.